Good morning, class. Today we are on lesson 117 of our Saxon Book 4. Today's lesson is rounding numbers through hundred millions. Should be a pretty quick lesson because we have already been rounding numbers up to hundred thousands. And really, the strategy doesn't change at all. So here's all of our place values. We've got ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, millions, 10 millions, 100 millions. So if I have a number, let's say, we'll start with one that we know. Let's say 38,274. Okay, so I've got this number and it tells me to round to the nearest 10,000. So I have to find, where's my 10,000s? This number right here. Whatever place value you are rounding to, everything after that is going to be a zero. But before we turn them all into zeros, we have to look at the number that's directly to the right of the place value I'm rounding to decide, am I going to round this up or down? So 38,274 is between 38,000 and 39. Sorry, I'm rounding to the thousands. It's between 30,000 and 40,000. So I have to decide, is this 8 closer to the 30 or closer to the 40? Well, 8's bigger than 5, so we know that that's going to be closer to 40,000. So this gets changed to a 4, and then everything else becomes zeros. So I can fill in my zeros here. So I've rounded it, it's 40,000. And let's see, let's trade out markers because the green one's not working so well. Okay, next problem. We'll do another one in the 10,000s. We're gonna round 47,681. And we're gonna round that to the nearest 1,000. So this one's a little different. Thousands, I'm looking at the 7. So when you're not rounding to the biggest place value, anything that comes before the place that you're gonna round to stays the same. So I'm gonna actually rewrite it down here so we can keep that one. So my 4 doesn't change because I'm rounding to this place value right here. So I have to decide 47,681. That is between 47,000 and 48,000. So I look to the digit to the right here. It's a 6. 6 is more than 5, which would be halfway in between. So I'm going to round it up to 48. And then remember, everything after that becomes zeros. 48,000. Okay? All right, now we're going to get a little bit bigger number. Let's do 427,000. Oh, I want to change colors. $63. Okay, and this one we are rounding to the nearest 100,000. So we find our place value and we have to decide, am I rounding to 400,000 or 500,000? I look at my 2, it's below 5, we're going to round down. So my answer here would be 400,000. Everything after is zeros. All right, now let's try one to the millions. Actually, I think we've got to the 10 millions coming up here. Okay, we're going to do 12,876,250. Okay, and we're rounding it to the nearest million. So that would be right here, which means our 1 doesn't change. And I have to decide, is this going to be 12 million or 13 million? Well, 8 is bigger than 5. We're going to round up. 13 million. Everything after is zeros. And there we have it. Okay? So I have a couple of lesson practice problems for you. Get rid of this. I'm going to leave this label up here so that you can use it to look at if you need. All right, so we've got 19,362, and I'm going to underline the place value that I want you to round to. So here you're rounding to the nearest 10,000, right there. B, 31,289. Again, we're rounding to the nearest 10,000 here. For these two, you're going to round to the nearest 100,000. C is 868,367. Again, rounding to the nearest 100,000. And then D is 517,867, rounding to the nearest 100,000. And then we're going to practice a couple of millions. 2,156,324. If you'll notice, as I'm reading and writing these, we take numbers in chunks of 3. So I read everything before the first comma here, 2, and then I know that this comma is million. Then I read everything here, 156, and I know that this comma is 1,000, and then I read the rest of it. So just read it and write it in chunks of 3, and you'll get it right. All right, and finally we're going to do F, which is 28,376,000. Oh, and there's nothing. They already have a bunch of zeros. Okay, so these, here we're rounding to the nearest million, here we're rounding to the nearest 10 million. Okay, so take a look at these, pause the video right now, give them a try on your own, and when you hit play again, we'll go over the answers together. Okay, so we're rounding to the nearest 10,000 here. I have to decide, is this number closer to 19,000 or closer to 20,000? Well, that 9 tells me we're awfully close to 20,000, and that's my answer. Am I closer to 30,000 or am I closer to 40,000? There's just a 1 there. I'm pretty darn close to 30,000. There we go. Here, am I closer to 800,000 or closer to 900,000? I look at the number to the right, that's 6. That's more than a 5, so I'm going to round up to 900,000. Here, closer to 500,000 or 600,000? That's a 1. I'm definitely rounding down. That's closer to 500,000. Okay? Now I want to point something out. A lot of times we say we're rounding down and we change this number. Instead of a 5, some kids will put a 4 because they think I'm rounding down. I have to go lower. But think about a number line. If we have a number line up here and we have 400,000, and then we have 500,000, and then we have 600,000, where would 517,867 go? Well, it would be somewhere here in between the 500 and 600,000, maybe about right there, if that's our number. So look at my round numbers that are on this number line. This is going to round down to 500,000. We don't want to skip 500,000 and round it all the way down to 400,000 because that's pretty far away. This number is actually closer to 600,000 than it is to 400,000. So you want to make sure rounding down just means we're getting rid of all these numbers and turning them to zeros. We are not changing this digit at all if we round down. Now, if we round up, this digit will need to change. But in this case, we rounded down to 500,000. All right, rounding to the millions. Am I going to round this to 2 million or round it to 3 million? Look at the number to the right. It's a 1, so this rounds down to 2 million. Here, 28 million. Am I going to round it down to 20 million or round it up to 30 million? Look at that 8. That's pretty close to 30. So we round up. 30 million. That is the end of your lesson for today. If you're my student, now is the time to work on your written practice, which begins on page 737 of your textbook. I hope that you have a wonderful day, and I will see you again soon.